My voice is still struggling, so bear with me, but the other week in Albuquerque, New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced that she's deploying the National Guard to the city to assist with law enforcement. And no, it's not because of an increase in crime or anything like that. In fact, crime stats that surely aren't doctored for political reasons in any way at all look better than ever, they say. The problem is they just can't really get anybody to be a police officer in that town anymore. The Albuquerque Police Department has been short on cops for years now. Well, when you make things as easy as possible for criminals and as hard as possible or outright impossible for police, that is the recipe you cooked. And your quest for kinder, gentler, less brutally racist policing, even though such a thing never really even existed, ironically has militarized the police. But hey, it wouldn't be the first time that government created an effect opposite from the one they advertised. But there is something worse than just shorthanded or too few law enforcement or justice system personnel. And that's the law enforcement and justice system actually teaming up with the criminals, or in this case, shacking up with them. That's exactly what happened in another New Mexico town, Las Cruces, not far from Juarez, El Paso, and the Mexico border. A fourth-term judge in the Doña Ana County Magistrate Court has resigned after an illegal immigrant and suspected Venezuelan gang member was arrested at his home. Though, as usual, you wouldn't know it just by reading some of the headlines. How about this one last week in the Albuquerque Journal? Doña Ana County judge resigns after feds arrest man at his home. Huh. So there aren't any useful descriptors for this generic man? He looks fairly describable in the photography, including his mugshot. He's not even a New Mexico father like his Salvadoran counterpart, formerly of Maryland. Ironically, this mysterious man has a lot of adjectives to describe himself. If you just ask him, he's an illegal immigrant, for example, which is information he volunteered to investigators. So I would say the newspaper should try asking this guy too, but of course, they know that information. It's in the body of their story. They just don't think it's headline relevant. Decide for yourself why. But in fairness, until the feds made some recent court filings, this story was a lot murkier. This judge, Jose Cano, he goes by the nickname Joel, he just unexpectedly resigned on March 3rd, staying only 2.5 weeks longer to complete his already scheduled court hearings. His brief letter implied he was retiring, as he wished others happy retirements too, but retirement on 2 weeks' notice is still pretty abrupt, because, of course, it wasn't retirement. It was ending his career in anticipation of career-ending news. He was just getting out ahead of it. The week prior, on February 28th, Judge Cano's home was raided by Homeland Security agents who arrested 23-year-old Venezuelan Christian Ortega-Lopez plus 3 other associated Venezuelan illegal immigrants. This information now public through court documents filed by federal prosecutors on April 8th. Okay, but arrested at the judge's home means what? Did the judge hire the wrong landscaper? Did they happen to nab the DoorDash guy during a delivery at the judge's house? Did the judge accidentally rent his property out for the wrong quinceañera party? No. According to court documents and associated photos, the judge and Christian are the 2 best friends that anybody could have. Christian has been living in a guest unit on the judge's property for about the last year. All right, so how does a judge become best friends with an illegal immigrant suspected Tren de Aragua member anyway? Do they both enjoy the same fine South American stimulants? Do they both share a passion for brutality in the administration of justice? Did they just see each other's matching face tattoos down at the Arepa Cafe and decide to hang out? No, it's way more wholesome than that. They both share a love of the judge's wife and daughter. Upon arrest, Christian told investigators he illegally entered the U.S. through Eagle Pass, Texas in December 2023. He was encountered at the border, taken into custody, and released due to detention facility overcrowding. He was given a notice to appear for evaluation of his case sometime infinitely in the future, per the Biden border policy. Christian went to Denver, but he couldn't afford to live there, so he moved to El Paso, and soon he got hired to install some glass in Las Cruces for the judge's wife, Nancy. And Nancy must have loved his services because she hired him back for several more jobs. So did he lay some pipe? Did he plow her driveway? Did he have sexual intercourse with her? Unclear exactly what these jobs were, but Nancy kept him working. Christian got evicted in El Paso in April 2024, and Nancy said, "Hey, Judge Cano and I have some extra space. Come live here." And Christian and his friends did. In the last year or so of that living arrangement, Judge Cano's daughter, April, has befriended Christian too. They've bonded over a shared love of guns. And actually, that's the nature of this raid and prosecution. It's not about Christian being an illegal immigrant per se. It's about Christian's gun possession through April. April likes guns. April has many guns. And Christian would join her to shoot them, and the pair foolishly posted photos of Christian shooting these guns on social media. That led to a tip to the feds about illegal immigrants with guns, which led to this raid. For any concern about gun rights in this case that I'd often share in general, illegal immigrants are not permitted to possess firearms under federal law. And according to prosecutors, this possession was a lot more than just Christian held it. And Christian shot it at the range, but then Christian gave it back. April let Christian hold onto these guns, according to court records, and the tip that led to investigation and arrest alleged the same thing, gun possession at his place of residence. April lived in a different home, though she was also raided and her guns were taken in this operation too. Upon arrest, Christian not only admitted his illegal presence in the country, but his illegal gun possession as well, or at least that he knew it was illegal for him to possess guns. As far as gang membership, prosecutors allege he is a member of Tren de Aragua, or is TDA adjacent. Prosecutors point to Christian's tattoos, jewelry, gang signs he's displayed in photos, TDA emojis he's used in photos. What exactly are TDA emojis, I wondered? It says, see Exhibit 8 for an example, but the exhibits aren't attached to the court filing I found, so I guess we'll just have to keep wondering. I assume probably a severed head, some pink cocaine, that gun emoji that Apple banned, and Joe Biden's smiling face of approval. And I'm not even just speculating that there were symbolic severed heads on his phone. There were photos of actual severed heads on his phone. Pictures of murder victims who had been dismembered in horrifically gruesome ways, including decapitation. Plus, they say Christian is friends with a lot of known Tren de Aragua guys, too. And despite all of that, despite entering this country illegally, and working here illegally and possessing guns illegally and potentially, if not probably, belonging to a terrorist-designated gang that's bringing drugs, violence, and mayhem into this country illegally, the purpose of this court proceeding in which we got all of this information still is not, when does this guy get out of our country? The purpose of this court proceeding is, should we release him again? Prosecutors are trying to keep Christian detained, noting his flight risk. But even if they succeed, he's staying in this country to face those gun charges and potentially years in prison on conviction, not deportation, at least for now. Because almost a year and a half after his illegal entry into this country, he still does not have a court date to evaluate his immigration case, even though we now have 50 different violations of whatever immigration terms he may have had. I assume deportation day is coming, but today is not the day. On the criminal charges, though, and yes, as someone without legal experience in this area, it is notable that Christian, the illegal Venezuelan, is the only one charged. But how? How are the judge and his wife and his daughter not charged? Harboring an illegal immigrant is a federal crime. Now, maybe Christian's presence itself was conditionally okay given his Texas release and the notice to appear, but it's not just about his presence alone. This family was harboring an illegal immigrant, not just knowing about his illegal firearm possession, but they were giving him the guns. And those illegal gun transfers are another federal crime, knowingly transferring firearms to a prohibited person, which includes illegal immigrants. You can get a decade in prison for that. Or apparently just retirement from the bench is punishment enough, perhaps with a pension or some other benefits package. And those charges could still be coming. It may just be a matter of time. I haven't seen information to say that they're not, but even if they do, get ready for even more non-descriptive headlines to make this story invisible. If this story is ever even published at all. Man charged after retirement gifts to family friend question, something to that effect. Or maybe this story is more suitable for daytime TV anyway, like an old school Jerry Springer chyron. I caught my landscaper in bed with my wife, and then he stole my guns to defend himself. It would be funny until you remember that the guy in the Springer story was actually in charge of policing your life and potentially facilitating your imprisonment for it, and despite his actions that would imprison others, so far there's no indication that he will face anything beyond the Homer slow walk back into the hedges, freshly trimmed by his Venezuelan help. I guess it's still kind of funny. It's just less of a punchline way and more of a sad irony kind of way. But hey, at least tears and a joke still combine into a laughing emoji, and there are a handful fewer Venezuelan gang guys on the street to make any severed head emojis instead. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on X, that is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chatting my live streams as live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.
If you made it all the way to the end of the video, that means you probably found some value in the video. If you found some value in the video, please consider supporting my material. You can do that one time or recurring for as little as $1 a month. It not only helps me sustain, but it helps me pay the people who make my videos possible. Linked in the description for you, mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Thanks for listening.